Hey, what's up? You're watching a quick walkthrough for Tendii, a tool for meeting organizers to manage time and document outcomes during their remote meetings. So let's get started. So what we're looking at here is the Tendii dashboard. This lists out a list of the agendas that you've created and added to your meeting calendars. To create a new agenda, you just click this button here, which takes you to this view. So you'll start with a clean slate, and you can enter in a new meeting agenda name, as well as agenda items and allot time for each of those topics. To get started a little bit quicker, you can use this right side panel and choose from templates, which I'm going to do, and select team meeting. And what that's going to do is it's going to pre-populate the agenda information for you. And if you need to, you can edit topics and rearrange them and add to them if you need to. You can also link this agenda to an upcoming recurring meeting, which I'm going to do for this product team meeting. So when I save agenda, it's going to push this information to my calendar. And when I head to the dashboard, it'll show that I now have this agenda saved. Hopping over to my calendar, the meeting event I linked to will now have not only the meeting agenda, but also a workspace link for me to access the workspace from my calendar whenever I need it. If I happen to have Tendii open when the meeting starts, I can also open the workspace using these buttons here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and open the workspace. It's going to ask me if I'm ready to start the meeting, and I'm going to say yes. And it's going to automatically start my agenda for me with these timers. And what these do is it lets me, as the organizer, know how much time I should spend on each item and how much time I have left. And when this number gets close to 0, there's going to be an audio cue that's going to let me know to move to the next topic. And when that happens, I can just toggle over to the next agenda item and start it by clicking on it. And I don't have to go in order. I can jump around as the meeting evolves. If I need to, I can add a topic if something comes up. And this just adds structure to the meeting and keeps people on topic. Over here on the right-hand side, I have a way of documenting what happens during this meeting. So I can use this rich text editor to enter in notes. I even have a whiteboard option here where I can draw things out visually and add it to this meeting. I can change colors like so, and then attach it as an asset. Below that, I also have the ability to add action items. So I'll assign an action to myself. I'll add one for Tom. And what this does is it creates a little checklist of actions that need to get done now and in the future. And as things are done, I can check them off or uncheck them. Over here on the upper right-hand corner, I have the ability to toggle not only for this meeting's documentation, but also previous meetings. So what's great about Tendii is that it acts as a repository for all my meeting assets. And I can reference things mid-meeting to see what was discussed and see if action items were completed. Good way of making sure things get done. And I can always toggle back to this current meeting's documentation. Over here on the left-hand panel, I can see who's currently in this workspace. So I can use Tendii as a organizational tool just for myself, but there's the option for teammates and clients to join as well to help document this meeting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in as a visitor separately so that I can demonstrate some of the visitor functionality. Give me 1 second. Okay, so now there's a visitor, Tom, who I'll pretend is my teammate. And when I hover over his name, you'll see I have the ability to make him the note taker. So when I do that, you'll see that the editing option is now moved from myself over to Tom, and he has the ability to now take notes on behalf of the team. So this is nice if I want to present or speak to the team without worrying about taking notes. Tom can take over. And then when I'm ready to, I can remove him as note taker, and then I regain the ability to edit these meeting notes. So I'm going to go ahead and end this meeting, which will take me to the meeting summary. So first thing you'll see is a recap of the agenda, how much time I originally allotted versus how much time I actually spent on each item. And then below that, there's a graph to show for the whole meeting how much time I intended to spend in total versus how much time I actually spent. I have the ability to quickly edit the agenda if I want to refine the agenda and make it a little bit more accurate as far as how much time I spend on each topic. And then below that, we have all of the meeting documentation from during the meeting, and then now post-meeting, I have the ability to edit and add to it before sharing it. So when sharing it, this is where the integrations of Tendii come into play for my team. So with these meeting notes here, by clicking this option, I can share it with my team via Slack or Confluence. So if I were to share on Slack, this will post it to whatever Slack channel I have selected for this integration. Same with Confluence, it'll create a page on the team's Confluence. Under Actions, when I hover over an item, I can actually push these action items to whatever project management tool I have integrated. So these are tools like Jira, Trello, Asana, and GitHub. So when I add these, it will create a card, a ticket, an issue for whatever action item I wanted to push. Below all that, I have the option to just send a good old-fashioned email with all the meeting assets. So I can either enter in a comma-separated list or just select an individual email, and then this will send a nicely formatted email with all of the meeting assets as a summary. When I head back to my meeting history, this will show me a table of all of my meetings that I've done previously, and I can reference these whenever I need to. So the nice thing about having all of your meeting assets live in Tendii is your team has the ability to not only reference their own history, but also every other team member. So if I go over to my team member, I could see their history. I could jump into one of their meeting summaries and see a read-only version of what happened in a teammate's history. So that's a quick summary of what Tendii can do and how to use it and implement it into your workflow. All right, hope you found it useful, and thank you.